one thing we can work on is one more new combo. It'll go up, down, up. But when you hit it this time, we're going to do a wrist roll. We're going to slap it down and we're going to wrist roll it back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, 1, 2, wrist roll, wrist roll. It's going to be a wrist roll bounce. Keep in mind you can wrist roll bounce anytime you're doing a slap with hyper, you can just throw in that wrist roll to bring it back. Like so. The other thing that we were working on was something called the X catch. The reason why it's called an X catch is because the chain kind of creates, like your arms will end up like an X position, but it's basically you're creating like a point to where the chucks is actually going to roll across the division line between the chain and your hands. You're creating a point that like splits them apart. The way it's going to work is palms facing up, your right palm is facing down. You're going to keep your hands as straight as possible. If I were to put my chucks down, the X catch would literally look like this. So as long as you don't chase it, you'll get the X catch. We're going to push it together. We're going to start putting pressure on this, and as we put pressure on it, we're going to open up our palms. And we're going to drop. Let's try it again. We're going to open up our palms, and it's going to slide straight in that direction. To get out of it, we just pull the opposite direction, and we pop out of it. So here, here. Another way to get out of the X catch, once we cross our arms, we're going to pull both sides towards the center of our body. This is called threading. And then we're going to take our right hand, we're going to cross it up, and our left hand's going to go down. We're just going to push it forward and straight out. The nice thing about that is you kind of create a plus sign. So we'll create the X catch, so now it's horizontal, now it's vertical. The last part of the X catch that we were working on is once you do one, if you thread it out, for instance, we're moving the top here from the right side to the left, and this is going to be from the left side to the right, then all of a sudden our grip is changed so we can do the opposite X catch on the other side. So if you need to practice both directions of X catch, this is like one of the easiest ways to keep this in practice. Here, reverse, here, reverse. Figure 8 wrist roll is the foundation of fire nunchucks. Whenever you don't know what to do next, you can do a figure 8 wrist roll because what it does, the speed will keep the fire from hitting you. When you first light nunchucks, sometimes the fire gets up about that high. It gets ridiculously high. So you need to find a way to keep the comets in circle so you don't get burned. And the best thing to do, your go-to move is going to be this figure 8 wrist roll right here. But sometimes if you just stood and did a figure 8 wrist roll, it could be a little bit boring. So we're going to add some variation, and we're going to do this. This is kind of called a figure 8 wrist roll extension. Essentially, it's the same move as this, except when we're in the front, we're going to extend our arm in a larger, big, sweeping circle. The wrist roll will start right about here, which is 9 o'clock. So wrist roll, wrist roll. It's big circle, little circle. Big circle, little circle. Be sure you can do it with both hands. And if you can do both hands, you can actually do a pass from behind your back. So it'll be big circle, little circle, pass. The pass is just opposite stick grab. Just hold your hand down and let it feed into your hand. And then your left hand can do the exact same thing. Big circle, pass. Big circle, little circle, pass. Using the figure 8 wrist roll front to back as we spin our bodies. But right now we haven't been working on that. What we are going to work on though is the figure 8 wrist roll. We're going to figure 8. You can add the extra beat, I prefer it. When you're watching it on fire, if you add that extra swoop in the back, it actually looks more impressive with the fire, as opposed to no extra beat right here. What we're going to do now though is we're going to do the figure 8 wrist roll, and as soon as it begins to end, we're going to tap right underneath our armpit. And then it'll turn into a reverse figure 8 wrist roll. And as soon as it comes to the front, we're going to tap it again at the armpit. So front wrist roll, tap. Back wrist roll, tap. Front wrist roll, tap. Back wrist roll, tap. Front, tap. Back, tap. If I slow it down. Good. We're just doing front to back. This is a great way, again, to practice both directions. So use both sides, both hands.